Good evening. All right. Thank you all for being here. We are at our Friday night Big Book study. The Spiritual Life is Not a Theory with Big Book Compendium. So excited to be here tonight. We're beginning We Agnostics, favorite chapter, personal thing, but and we are going to be on page 44 for those of you that might not know the page number. And I have tonight one of my favorite people, Lavelle J, and I want to introduce him as just an awesome person to be doing. We couldn't have anyone better to be here tonight to facilitate. He's passionate about the big book. He's very great to talk to and very just level-headed, and God comes through him. So that's what I'm going to say. And Lavelle, if you want to introduce yourself as well, I would love that.
So someone just made it real hard for me to mess up tonight, right? but also you're talking about family night. Look, Terry said he's all right. Luckily, I have friends like Terry and Josh and that can take that pen and bust that little bubble, right? Because thank you for reaching out to me, Summer, to ask me to help you out tonight. I'm really honored. I literally was just arriving in North Carolina, getting ready to load some cars up, and I pulled into the thing and jumped in the back, and I'm ready to go because listen, this chapter here, like not here, but this chapter here. Woo!
Yep. And I love your enthusiasm, and that's why this is going to be just great. So, you ready?
I'm ready when you are.
All right. So again, page 44, we are with starting on We Agnostics. So chapter 4, We Agnostics. I almost want to stop there because it's like, what is agnostics? But I'm going to read a little bit. In the preceding chapters, you have learned something of alcoholism. We hope we have made clear the distinction between the alcoholic and the non-alcoholic. All right, Lavelle, should we talk about that a little bit? The distinction?
Not really, because it's going to give us some more information, but I just want the word agnostic. It just means without knowledge. Ag means without, gnostic knowledge, right? And that's all it is. It's just without knowledge. It's not people attach all these things to it, and it's really simple. It's just a person without the full knowledge of God. And a really good friend of mine, Laura, out there in Texas, she's part of her home group is Hopeful Agnostics, and I love that that name, Hopeful Agnostics. So this chapter is so mind blowing that it's really going to talk about the distinction in this during this paragraph.
Very true. Very true. And also, I was going to say, like, we could go even back to the doctor's opinion on XXVII and talk about that too. But I love that definition. And also thinking, we're in good company here. Like if we, without knowledge, I mean, Bill W., our founder, he was an agnostic, especially, and at the beginning, like without knowledge, but obviously things changed. But before his interaction with Ebby, I mean, agnostic. Me, agnostic. I mean, we're in good company. You're in good company if that's how you feel, if this is how you are. It's not agnostic. It's not like a derogatory comment. It's just without knowledge without knowledge of God, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So if when you honestly want to, you find you cannot quit entirely, or if when drinking you have little control over the amount you take, you are probably alcoholic. If that be the case, you may be suffering from an illness which only a spiritual experience will conquer. I'm just going to say one thing really quick, and then I would love for you to describe those differences. Suffering from an illness, and its illness, I know it's a we call it 2 or 3-fold disease, right? But it's an illness. It's an illness that we're suffering from here, and only a spiritual experience. Only a spiritual experience. If we are the real deal alcoholic, only a spiritual experience. What is that? What is a spiritual experience? It's it's when how do I describe it? It's when everything changes, our perspective, everything is going to change. We can go to the back and read about that as well, in the spiritual experience, but I really wanted to, or in the spiritual part and the appendix, I just really want to say the only answer is this vital spiritual experience. Frothy emotional appeal is not going to work for the real alcoholic. It's not. I can go to the Pope. I can go here. I can go there. And that's all great. Awesome. Awesome. Great. My kids can cry to me. Sad. They can be taken. Sad. But frothy emotional appeal will not suffice. A vital spiritual experience is what I need. And it says will conquer. Isn't that awesome? It's going to conquer. It's going to conquer this thing. So Lavelle, take it away.
I'm sitting here, and so with all the Dr. Bob before he made his transition, he told Bill W., don't louse this thing up with your Freudian complexes, and right. So one of the main things about don't louse this thing up, a lot of people will say, well, let's keep it simple. The simplicity of Alcoholics Anonymous is the book Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't like when I'm trying to oversimplify or over add stuff to it. The simplicity of it is this book, right? So here is the only question I needed in my sidebar. I have this. It says if now here's the condition. It says if when you honestly want to, you find you cannot quit entirely. See, that was me, because I honestly wanted to. I hear people always used to say, well, he can quit if he wants to, or you can stop if you want to. And in a chapter more about alcoholism, it talks about he should quit for her. And Summer just talked about it. For all the emotional appeal seldom suffices, right? No matter how my mother cried, no matter how the wife begged, no matter what the kids did, no matter what anybody, no matter being threatened by the boss, no matter what happened, that was not enough. And it says when you honestly want to, right? And there's a solution. It says so many wanted to stop, there is a solution. So I don't get confused today. People who page 35 talks about a man who he said we told him what the answer we had found, and he went back to work for a concern he lost through drinking. It says all went well for a time. He lost, but he failed to enlarge his spiritual life, right? So it says, but on each occasion we work with him, reviewing what had happened. And what I'm getting at is we don't shoot our wounded, right? One of the things that my great grand sponsor used to always say, James Willis Hodges, he would always say, if you get shot, the ambulance doesn't show up and says, what is a 9mm? Was it a 22? He say they pick you up and take you to the hospital. If a house catches fire, the fire department don't show up and say, was it a bonfire? Was it? They put the fire out. That's what we do first, right? But the thing I ask the people that I sponsor, because this program is so wonderful. There's a lot of people that's coming into Alcoholics Anonymous that just want to sit around and have fun with us, right? And they like to talk and they like to say stuff, and then they tell us about all their other programs that they work that's outside of Alcoholics Anonymous. That's wonderful and great. My great grand sponsor used to say, if you're out there is better than you're in here, then why are you here? I have a lot of stuff that I have outside of Alcoholics Anonymous, but when I'm in AA, I talk about AA, and I know this book, we're not associated with any anything else, but we're talking about the big book right here, right? And this is the question I ask you. If when you honestly wanted to, think back in your memory when times where you were drinking, you were smoking, you were snorting, you were shooting, whatever it was that you were doing trying to escape, whether you were eating, gambling, whatever it was, think in those moments when you honestly wanted to quit entirely. Could you? Because see, there's times when I've had those moments in my life, Ali, like, nope, right? So because there was times for me, Ali, I would quit, but I couldn't keep quitting.
Right.
See, it was something that was happening in me, man. It was just something that took over me, you know. And I know we talk about the different phases of but the simple reality of the disease of alcoholism. Dr. Carl Jung said, spiritus contra spiritum, right? And that means it takes spirit to combat spirit. And if you look up the definition of the alcohol in the dictionary, it says spirits. On top of the liquor stores, it says southern wines and spirits. So I've been putting a spirit into me to take me outside of the very spirit that has been controlling my life. See, I don't, you know, and y'all have to be kind with me, because and don't get mad at Summer. Summer asked me to come and talk. My lips big. I like to run my mouth about Alcoholics Anonymous, and the big book is lovely. We might only make it through a paragraph or two, but that's okay. We gonna get some information. Because I don't get caught up about how fast we go. We don't need to rush through the whole chapter. Like when I sit down for dinner, I don't scoff my food down. I don't rush through. I take my time today, right? So it says that if you you have little control over the amount you take, and this is, I love Bill W. He didn't say you are an alcoholic. He still gives me wiggle room. He said you're probably. See, Bill is tricky. He says you're probably alcoholic. But I need to search back through my thinking to think about these things. He said, and that if that be the case, you may be suffering from an illness, which only a spiritual experience, it doesn't say can conquer, it says will conquer. My sponsor always said, read the black on the pages, because I like to read in between the lines. I like to refer, you know, it's up for interpretation. Let me share this. And somebody might get upset with me, and that's okay. Put me on your fourth step. Pray for me. I need the prayer. You need to practice. We all gonna get some help. The big book is not up for interpretation. It says it's the basic text of our society. A textbook is something meant to be studied. If you have an education, if you went to a job, if you have whatever you've learned on your job or your particular profession, even if you just have a 8th grade diploma or a high school diploma, you still had to study a textbook, take a test, and do it. You couldn't change those textbooks. I've got a degree in mathematics and English, right? And the math that I got my master's degree in is still the same math they're doing today. They ain't changed it. It's not up for interpretation. Spiritual principles don't change, right? They don't change. This is exactly what it is. And it doesn't, and I love the way he put this. He said, if that be the case, which meaning if you're an alcoholic, you may be suffering from an illness which only a spiritual experience will conquer. Not that it might conquer, not that it can conquer, but it will conquer. Man, that's a promise. Like that's a definitive promise, man. I'm sorry. Y'all get me going, girl. You know how I love this thing.
Mm-hmm. That's why I love you here. That's great. Keep on going.
You want me to read, or you? I don't know.
Yeah, one thing real quick. Like 1939. I'm trying to conquer. Conquer is to gain by conquest, to overcome completely, and to subdue. That's what's going on here. Yeah.
Yes. and Everly I love Everly. Everly's everywhere I go. Everly's my dictionary person, right? And she just put in Everly. You need to put that in a regular chat. She put the definition of spirits in the chat, and it is it brings so much more understanding Thank you, Everly. It gives so much more understanding to what I'm combating. That's why it says powerless over alcohol, that my life was unmanageable, right? It's something greater than me, and I'm trying to get to something greater than it, because I'm in trouble. My life is at stake. Here, to one who feels he is an atheist or agnostic, such an experience seems impossible. But to continue as he is means disaster, especially if he is an alcoholic of the hopeless variety, like Josh and Terry, right? to be doomed to an alcoholic death or to live on a spiritual basis are not always easy alternatives to face.
For us, most people would be like, I'll take the spiritual basis. Come on, like, you know, I'll do the spirit. I'll live on a spiritual basis. But we're, you know, for the real deal alcoholic of the, what does it say here? Hopeless variety. You know, and often I say that about myself. I'm an alcoholic of the hopeless variety. You know, it's not bad because what? It's hopeless, but now I'm filled with hope. So, you know, that the hopeless variety, but that's not there anymore. But to be doomed to an alcoholic death, you know, that if that's a choice, it was very difficult. It was a very difficult choice to make for me. Like, I mean, I could not put down, and you know, we are not just at an AA meeting, substances. I couldn't do it, and it was out of my control. So that, you know, that was definitely an option for me, right? And it was definitely something that I attempted and was an option. And I mean, I look now and like any normal person would be like, oh my gosh, so should I die or just pick up the spiritual, you know, toolkit here, right? I'll pick up the spiritual toolkits is what most people would say, but not me. Lavelle. Right. Yeah.
And that's, so this is one of the points where when I'm talking to somebody or I'm sponsoring somebody, we get to right here. It says, to one who feels he is an atheist or agnostic, and I love the way Bill Wright wrote. He didn't say to one who is, he said to one who feels. See, my feelings are not fact, because feelings change. Who let Tim in the meeting? Y'all just y'all let anybody in here. That's good. That's good. We all need help, so y'all just let anybody in. Okay, all right. Come on in and have a seat. But here, this is wonderful. The way Bill writes, he said to one who feels. See, I love the writing. I love the way he writes, and so to one who feels he is an atheist or agnostic, such an experience seems impossible. Here it is. But to continue as he is means disaster. When I look back over my experiences, when I look back over my life, when I look back over the way things happen to me, when I look back, I'm like, man, I don't know. But then it says here, especially if he is an alcoholic of the hopeless variety, to be doomed. Now, listen, this is where I'll be wanting to say your mama to Bill W, right? I don't know about y'all, but I be wanting to curse Bill W out right here. See, because he said to be doomed to an alcoholic death or to live on a spiritual basis are not always easy alternatives to face. Because I don't know about you guys, but close your eyes and think back, right, Everly? Think back to being in the midst of whatever was going on. Angela, just close your eyes for a second. I see the reflection of your glasses, right? Just think about being in the middle of the chaos and the confusion, right? Trying to escape reality in whatever the way it was, right? Whether it was drinking, sex, whether it was shooting up, whatever it was that you were using to escape reality, right? I think back in my mind and I'm able to say to myself, wow, to be doomed to an alcoholic death because I ain't feeling no more. right? I'm able to escape momentarily most of the time. So that feeling is getting chased away. That feeling of angst, that feeling of separation, that feeling of not belonging, that feeling of not being enough. All that stuff seems to go away when I got my best friend. Right?
Yeah.
When I got my best friend, the bottle, the needle, the pipe, the food, the drugs, the alcohol, the gambling, whatever it is that I have that I'm using to escape, I'm like, I don't know. I might want to be doomed to an alcoholic death, right? Because an alcoholic of my type, both alternatives, both of them seem distasteful, equally distasteful, right? Because look, I really don't want to die. Look, Everly, like, right. See, I really don't want to die, Kathleen. I really don't want my life to be taken, Paul. I really don't want to be separated from the source. I really don't want to be going through what I'm going through, but I don't know how to get out of it. I don't know how to let go. I don't know how else to escape the pains that I'm feeling. But then you tell me to live on a spiritual basis. Wait a minute. Y'all running around hollering Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Y'all doing see, in the churches I went to, they was falling out, talking about they had the Holy Ghost. I was scared, right? I don't know about y'all, but they was doing all kind of stuff that just made me nervous, right? I'm like, wait a minute. Who is? I don't know. I'm right here with two equally distasteful options. Both of them I don't like. Both of them are like liver or peas, or right. Growing up as a kid, right? But Kathleen's like, yeah, I hate liver, right? Both of them are easily distasteful. But because the way my life is, I've got to choose one. And it's going to tell us that, and it's that. Come on, something. I'm sorry. I get it. This stuff is like Campbell's soup. It's good.
Do not be sorry. I mean, I want this, and this group is here, so I think we all want to hear all of this. So yes, what you're doing is fabulous. And what you said is what you said about, like, you love the way that Bill writes. I do too. I mean, I love Bill Wilson, and just like the way that he writes, and there's like a little bit of a sarcasm sometimes, a little bit of a this, and then he says, but it isn't so difficult. It's like, okay, like, really? You're going to tell me it's not so difficult? Like, wait, like before it's, like back in, there is a solution thing. We had two alternatives. One was to go to the bitter end, blotting out the consciousness of our intolerable situation as best we could. And then the other, simple, is to accept spiritual help. I love how the first one's like super long and like all these big words, and then it's like, or just accept spiritual help, And I love how Bill says it's not so difficult. About half our original fellowship were exactly that type. Talking about, atheist or agnostic. At first, some of us tried to avoid the issue, hoping against hope. We were not true alcoholics.
Wow.
Yeah. How do you hope against hope? Hoping against hope, like hoping against even having hope, right? Is that what we're saying here? Trying to avoid this issue, hoping against hope that we were not true alcoholics. I'm going to tell you, I was so I did not want to be a true alcoholic. I did not want to be a true alcoholic that could not drink. I couldn't imagine my wedding. I couldn't imagine this and that, without alcohol, without drugs. I couldn't imagine what if I had to have surgery? What would happen? What would happen without the drugs? All of this stuff. Like, that was me. I was hoping against hope that I was not a true, real deal alcoholic. But after a while, we had to face the fact that we must find a spiritual basis of life, or else, and we just read the or else, blotting out the consciousness of our intolerable situation. That's what's going to go on. Perhaps it is going to be that way with you. There we go, his writing. Perhaps that's going to be with you, But something like half of us thought we were atheists or agnostics. Our experience shows that you need not be disconcerted. Lavelle.
Uh, oh, you went back into another chapter. Where I'm lost. Where
Okay,
that was
I
in?
just read our experience shows that you need not be disconcerted, but I just made reference to there is a
Oh,
solution. That's it on page 25. That's all.
oh, no, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Listen, don't. I'm not all that bright. So
Yes, you are. Don't say that.
y'all just hang on with me.
Okay.
So I'm the or else guy. See, I'm the or else guy before I got to Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm the because I don't know about y'all, but you know when you see a stove and you got the flame, right? And on that flame, you have the red part, the blue part, and the white part. I know red means hot, but I want to know if the blue and the white part burn too, right? see, I just like I want to like red means hot, but there's blue and white before you get because blue and white. Come on, Everly, don't be laughing at me because blue and white means cold, right? That's what I thought. So I'm the or else guy. See, it says here, it says right here. At first, some of us try to avoid the issue, avoiding it, right? Going around it, not talking about it, trying not to get a sponsor, trying not to work the steps, right? See, I'm trying to avoid, shut up, Everly. I'm trying to avoid the issue, right? See, I'm hoping against hope that I can do this by myself. But I've been proven. It's been proven when I look back at my own record. I'm like Clint Eastwood in that movie, The Outlaw Josie Wales, right? I'm out there on my own. They say, yeah. He ain't coming in. Right? I'm out there on my own. But I don't have to be out here on my own. I don't have to be alone. I don't have to navigate this thing by myself. Now, don't get me wrong. I know you guys are smart. I know you're intelligent. I know you know how to do things. I was 30 years old when I came into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. I was educated. I served in the military, right? Yeah, education, right? Because my sponsor said I was a smart dummy, Kathleen. See, I be wanting to say your mama to him too most of the time, right? But my sponsor would always call me a smart dummy, right? Because I was just smart enough to get myself into trouble. But I am so glad I had enough experience in coming into Alcoholics Anonymous that I had surrendered. See, I was fortunate enough stuff had already happened to me by the time I got here. I didn't need no more experience. I was just, and trust me, don't get me wrong. I've had some other stuff happen to me since I've been in Alcoholics Anonymous. My sobriety date is November 12th, 2001. And I've had a whole lot of other stuff happen to me since then. Right? I've been divorced. I've lost the business. Stuff has happened. I just buried my godmother on Tuesday. Like my son got shot. Like stuff still happened. But now you guys have given me a sufficient substitute to the bottle. You guys have given me a sufficient substitute to putting a needle in my arm. You guys have given me a sufficient substitute. You guys have given me a way, right? And here, hoping against hope, we were not true alcoholics. Because see, I was always able to say it was a badge of honor in my family to call yourself an alcoholic, right? Because there was so many of us, and if you could outdrink the other one, you was cool, right? And I was the kid that was able to, Emily understand. See, I was the kid that was always able to outdrink everybody and still drive, right? I would drink and everybody would still give me their keys, right? They wasn't all that bright either, right? but I never tore anything up. I was kind of, right? I was always kind of, but it says, but after a while, we had to. Now, the only reason I believe Bill didn't use the word must here because he's going to use it in the next sentence. Bill said his English teacher told him if he used the same word too many times, he would sound stupid. So he would use words that were synonyms to other words. Because right here, it had to means I must.
Yes.
I had to face. Because I never could face it. I was always able to say to myself, yeah, I'm an alcoholic. Yeah, I'm a drug addict. Yeah, I'm this. Yeah, I'm that. I'm okay with that, right? Somewhere in my soul, I had just given up. I was resigned to the fact. I remember before my mother died before I got sober. And I remember telling her that I was going to get high until I died. I meant that.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't, I wasn't saying that to her to punish her or anything like that. She said, "Why do you love heroin so much?" And I just remember telling her, I say, "Mom, I'm probably going to get high until I die. I love heroin." I told my mother that, and we didn't have a contentious relationship. My mother sacrificed a lot for me. My mother loved me, and I know that. Like, I'm not confused about that. Even before Alcoholics Anonymous, I know my mother loved me. But I remember telling her that, right? And then it says here, we had to face the fact that we must. So somebody around here, if you do the Alcoholics Anonymous, you might run across somebody that tells you there are no musts in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. Please run the other way quick.
Right.
Please get away from them. Because right here, it says that we must find a spiritual basis of life. And then it's got that M dash. Steve likes to talk about that all the time. Like that M dash, right? That must find a spiritual basis of life, or else. It don't even, it's just open-ended. It don't leave what is the or else? Well, I can tell you what the or else is. I've had the unfortunate experience to sponsor some people that found out what or else meant. They OD'd, they died, we had to bury. That's the or else. I just don't want the or else. I'd rather be on this side living with all the chaos and confusion that sometimes still go on in my life, Angela. Because I'm talking to Angela Arnold this time, not you, Angela, over there. I have to make sure that I'm figuring this thing out, that I'm connected to this thing. I don't want today to know what or else means.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, I've had a lot of stuff happen to me in Alcoholics Anonymous since I've been sober. I'd rather be on this side dealing with all the stuff that's going on than to add alcohol or drugs to it. A friend of mine that's not even in the fellowship, he says, "Man, life is hard enough. Life is hard enough. Why would you want to add that chaos and confusion to it?" Wow. Come on, son.
All right. Can you tell me where we're at?
I'm sorry. It's at the bottom. And I'm going to stop saying I'm sorry, because I'm not. I'm lying.
You're not sorry. No,
I am not sorry. But we're still in at where our experience shows you need not be disconcerted. And it just means that you need not be confused. You need not to be objective. You need not to be misunderstanding. You need to just come on in. We got you. It's enough of us around here who have been doing this thing for a while. We got you.
Mm-hmm. Just come on in, right?
Yeah.
All right. You want me? I'll read. If a mere code of morals or a better philosophy of life were sufficient to overcome alcoholism, many of us would have recovered long ago. But we found that such codes and philosophies did not save us, no matter how much we tried. We could wish to be moral. We could wish to be philosophically comforted. In fact, we could will these things with all our might, but the needed power wasn't there. Our human resources, as marshaled by the will, were not sufficient. They failed utterly.
Woo!
Yeah.
Shut your mouth and keep talking.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say, we could. Sorry, that my camera keeps going off. We could wish to be moral. We could wish to be philosophically comforted, but it's not gonna happen. But we can even will. What does that mean? What does that mean? We could command, direct those things with all of our might, but the needed power wasn't there because what? Lack of power is our dilemma. The needed power is not there. Our human resources, brought the emotional appeal, as marshaled by the will, or other things that we try, marshaled by the will or marshaled by us commanding, were not sufficient. They failed. How? Utterly.
completely.
Utterly. Go for it, Lavelle. I want to hear you.
I first want to apologize to the young lady whose last name I said, because you guys do post this. So if you talk to her later, Angela, and she doesn't want this posted, please don't. I'm okay with that, right?
Okay.
Because I understand, and I just get so excited, Angela. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I just get so excited. but
Yes.
so here, this is the other thing that sometimes, most of the time, run through my mind when I hear people talking about how they can do this alone, or how they can do it a different way. And our book says that we have no monopoly on God. We merely have a way which works with us. But right here, it says, if a mere code of morals or a better philosophy of life were sufficient to overcome alcoholism, many of us would have recovered long ago. Like, I wouldn't need Alcoholics Anonymous. Going back again. If you're out there is better than you're in here, then why are you here? A mere code of morals, right? We all come in. I'm sure, and I can't say we. Let me stop talking for everybody else. I came in with the philosophy of life. I came in raised right. I had people around me that loved me, that treated me right. I saw examples of what true kindness and love was. I saw examples of what true justice. I saw examples.
Mm-hmm.
I saw these things around me. So it wasn't that I didn't have them. I wasn't raised I was raised right. So everything that happened with me, the things that went on with me, and I wasn't drinking because after I started drinking, I was drinking to overcome an obsession, right? But I started drinking to escape the emotions and feelings. I started drinking because I did not like the way I felt. I started drinking because I did not like the way I was associating with the people around me. I started drinking because I did not like the way my mother looked at me at times. And not necessarily she looked at me in a bad way. And maybe she passed before I got sober, so I don't know what her thoughts was. I graduated top of my class. I was in college at the age of 14. So I did some wonderful things, right? I did some great things looking back on it. So I don't know what her thoughts was, but in my mind, the way I saw things. So I love about this literature. And Bill, in one of the writings, Bill says that we're all like viewers of an accident. We see it from entirely different angles, right? That's why we have people. Sponsorship is so important, Everly. That's why we have people outside of us. And I love Everly, so I can mess with her. But that's why we have people outside of us to help us, right? That's why I have somebody that I can talk to that gives me guidance, that gives me understanding, right? Because the way I see things probably were not the way they were. That's why when an accident happens, right? Somebody gets shot or a car accident, when they send the police out, all the police converge on the accident or the incident, right? And then they all get together and they start looking around. And then they go to each different sides of the place, right? They say, you go over there and talk to them. You go over there and talk to them. You go over there and talk to them. You go, and then they come back together so they all have the truth. We're all like viewers of an accident. We see it from entirely different angles. So I need somebody to see my life from a different angle, because the way I see it is going to keep me in my feelings. It's going to keep me emotional. It's going to keep me drinking. It's going to keep me trying to escape. Mm-hmm. But we found that such codes and philosophy did not save us, no matter how much we tried. I don't know about you guys, but I tried. I mean, I tried. Mm-hmm. I belonged to the Church of Scientology. I was a Black Hebrew Israelite. I was a Christian, a Muslim. I was a Baptist. I was a Seventh-day Adventist. I've been dipped, dunked, and almost drowned, Ali, trying to make it to this spiritual launching pad, man. I was trying to get here, right? I was trying.
Yeah.
But such codes and philosophies did not spell the much needed. Man, listen, that's why I love this stuff. Some people be coming around talking about, well, the big book this and the big book that, and it ain't got all the answers. I have not had a situation or problem in my life that I haven't been able to find the answer in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. Not one. And I'm not trying to say it like, I'm not saying it's the panacea for life, but it is for my life. This thing has changed my life, man. You want me to read the next paragraph for you, Summer, or did you want to add something?
Yes, if you would read that little pair, yes, that would be great.
Uh-oh. Here we go, y'all.
Yeah.
Lack of power. That was our dilemma. We had to find a power by which we could live. And it had to be a power greater than ourselves, obviously. But where and how will we define this power?
Awesome. And you know how you were saying about must and the had, like we talked about before, we have to have a vital, or the spiritual experience to conquer this. We have to. There's no half measures avail us nothing here. Right. And you may as well just not. I mean, not half measures are not going to work. So we have to find that power because what? Because why? Lack of power, no power, lack, less of power, less of the real power. That's our problem. That's our problem. And I love how you said, you were going to churches and, were doing all that. And I tried too, I was slain in the spirit and, all this stuff, like all these different churches. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that because, I love the church. But I tried it all. I did the one-step program. The one-step program is that, you can go and do that. And then all of a sudden everything's going to be better. And there's no action in the middle. There's no steps, and it may work for some. I'm not saying it won't. Like there are plenty of people that I believe from the bottom of my heart that it worked for. Whether they are real alcoholics or not, I don't know. But I saw major changes. So that's awesome. And that's awesome. For me, I needed something way more extreme. Or not that this is extreme, but I needed this. I needed 12 steps. I needed to find a power. I needed that spiritual experience. I needed that. And it had to be bigger than me. What's me? So like me, I'm talking about myself. I never knew, but I mean, I believed in some stuff here, like it says, like faith wasn't really or lack of faith wasn't really my problem. I had a lot of faith in this girl, but I had to find a power that was greater than this girl. And then again, Lavelle, I love it. You say that. You just like, obviously. Like, obviously. Okay, so obviously. But where and how are we to find this power? Well, we will definitely find out about that. But I'm just going to give you a little sneak preview. We find it deep down within. And then you go. Deep down within.
I wanted to point out the shortest sentence in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. The absolute shortest sentence in the Big Book. Mm-hmm. So it says here, we had to find a power by which we could live, and it had to be. He says it twice. See, Bill wasn't even worried about sounding stupid here. He said had to twice, right? And it said, here's the shortest sentence in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. If you found one shorter, please call me. My number is 312-206-5439, right? Right. Obviously, from period to period, obviously, shortest sentence in the Big Book. It's right there. Obviously. So that means, obviously, I need to find a power by which I can live. Because the power I've been trying to live by is not sufficient. It failed me utterly. It just talked about that it utterly means completely. And you know how I know it failed me utterly? Because I'm sitting here with y'all, that it also failed utterly. Right? That's how I know. Obviously. But where and how will we define this power? Woo! This next paragraph, I know we out of time, I think, right? Yeah, yes, y'all, listen. If after this meeting is over with, please go and read your book. Just read the next paragraph. It's going to tell you where we're going to find the power. Now then it's gonna tell you some more stuff that is deep down within. Oh, but listen, make sure y'all warm up y'all Campbell soup because this is good.
Are we gonna read it, or it is
Oh,
8:56?
I
It
thought we were
is,
out of time. Yes, I would love to read that. Okay,
but
here we go. Here we go. Here we go,
yeah,
y'all.
yeah,
Here we go.
yeah.
Here we go.
You want
I
me to
would
read it
love
for
to
you,
read
Lavelle? I'll read it for you.
that. Okay.
Okay. Well, that's exactly what this book is about. Its main object is to enable you to find a power greater than yourself, which will solve your problem. That means we have written a book which we believe to be spiritual as well as moral. And it means, of course, hold on to your seats. We're going to be talking about God. Here, difficulty arises with agnostics. Many times we talk to a new man and watch his hope rise as we discuss his alcoholic problems and explain our fellowship, but his face falls when we speak of spiritual matters, especially when we mention God, for we have reopened a subject which our man thought he had neatly evaded or entirely ignored.
Ooh.
You go. Tell me about it.
So here, like that's what Dr. Bob says, don't louse this thing up, right?
Yeah.
Because see, one of the things I'll do is I'll try and over explain, I'll try and go around, I'll try and tell you how it says here. Lack of power, that was our dilemma. But where and how will we define this power? Bill never asks a question without giving the answer. That's what I told y'all. I have not had a problem or situation in my life I haven't been able to find the answer to. The answer is right here. Look what it says. Well, see, this talking to me now, y'all. I ain't gonna call y'all this. It said, well, fool, right? It's talking to me. It says, well, fool. That's exactly, not somewhat, not maybe. That's exactly what this book is about. Its main object, its main purpose, its main thing, its main object is to enable you to find a power greater than yourself, which will, not maybe, not can, but which will solve your problem. Now look, and Bill did it to us again. He said, listen. So look what he says. He said its main object is to enable. Now, what does the word enable mean? I know Everly gonna give it to us. The word enable means to give power to give power to. The book is going to enable me. It's going to give me power to find the power that will solve my problem. Man, listen, look, and it didn't say, see, I'm like, I love James Brown, right? See, I like to just get up and do my thing. See, it didn't say it was going to give me power to get up and do my thing. It says it was going to enable me to find a power greater than myself. The power is going to solve my problem. What? Hush your mouth and keep talking. Like, how? Because I've been looking, I've been searching, I've been trying, that's the main object, is to enable you. It's gonna give us the power to find the power. That's exactly what this book is about. Man, I love that. But look, this here is, y'all got the bomb. Look, I don't know about y'all, but when I did drugs and I went look for them, I would always say, where they got the bomb at, right?
Yeah.
Y'all got the bomb over here.
Yep. All right. You okay, yeah, it's 9. So guys, all 20 something of you guys. We do have a bit of a question and answer after this, Lavelle, if you don't mind staying.
I'm here.
Okay, for a couple minutes, and also we open up the room to share. So first of all, Lavelle, thank you. Couldn't have asked for a more amazing partner in no, I was gonna say in crime. A partner in the Agnostics tonight. Wonderful. I appreciate you. I appreciate your service. I appreciate your willingness, and I appreciate, again, every single one of you guys that share the Friday night with us tonight. And Everly, thank you so much for handling the chat and for the definitions and for just being you. All right, guys, I'm going to turn off the recording and we'll open up if I can find it. Oh yeah, there it is. I don't like how it moved, you know.